Did you know that understanding 100% of native English speech isn't about vocabulary or grammar? It's about mastering the secret code of natural language. In this episode, we'll reveal the 3 biggest mistakes that are keeping you from cracking this code. Stick around to discover how small changes in your approach can lead to massive improvements in your comprehension. Have you ever felt lost in a sea of unfamiliar words when listening to native English speakers? You're not alone. Many learners think building a massive vocabulary is the key to understanding everything. But here's the thing: vocabulary alone isn't enough. Let me share a quick story. I was watching a British comedy show and understood every word, but couldn't figure out why everyone was laughing. It was frustrating. I knew the vocabulary, but I was missing something crucial. This brings us to native vocabulary. It's about understanding phrasal verbs, idioms, and slang, the building blocks of natural, everyday speech. When a native speaker says, "I'm down for that," they're not moving downwards. They're saying they agree or they're interested. But even if you memorize hundreds of idioms and slang terms, you might still struggle with real conversations. Why? Because comprehension isn't just about knowing words. It's about context and cultural fluency. Understanding the culture behind the language is like having a secret decoder ring for native speech. It helps you pick up on subtle references, humor, and implied meanings that aren't obvious from the words alone. When you watch a TV show from your own country, you automatically get cultural references without thinking about it. That's the level of understanding we're aiming for in English. Wondering how to develop this cultural fluency? We'll explore some effective strategies later in the video. But first, let's dive into another challenging aspect of native speech, something that can make even familiar words sound completely foreign. Ready to uncover this mystery? Let's keep going. Let's dive into that linguistic mystery I mentioned. Have you ever felt like natives are speaking at warp speed, even when you know all the words they're using? There's a fascinating reason for this, and it's called connected speech. It's about to change the way you listen to English forever. Connected speech is a natural phenomenon in English where words blend together in continuous speech. This is why native speakers might sound like they're talking super fast, even when they're not. They're connecting their words in ways that can make them hard to recognize. Here's the thing: connected speech can make familiar words sound totally different. For example, going to often becomes gonna in casual speech. Even don't know can turn into dunno. These changes can make it tricky for learners to follow along, even when they know all the individual words. Word stress plays a big role in connected speech too. In English, we don't give equal emphasis to every word in a sentence. Some words are stressed, while others are reduced. This pattern of stress and reduction affects how words sound when they're strung together. Don't worry though, there are techniques to help you decode connected speech. It's all about training your ear to recognize these patterns. With practice, you'll start to hear the individual words hidden within these blended sounds. Once you understand connected speech, your comprehension of native speakers will improve dramatically. You'll be able to follow conversations more easily, enjoy movies and TV shows without subtitles, and feel more confident in your listening skills overall. Research has shown that connected speech patterns are incredibly common in native English speech. Understanding these patterns is crucial for anyone aiming to improve their listening skills. Are you ready to start decoding native speech? In the next part of our video, we'll look at some practical ways to practice recognizing and even producing connected speech yourself. But before we get there, there's one more important factor that most learners overlook. It can make the difference between understanding the words and truly getting the message. Curious? Let's keep going. Let's talk about something that often trips up English learners: cultural context. Have you ever been in a conversation where everyone's laughing, but you're left wondering what's so funny? That's cultural context at work. Understanding cultural context is a big part of language learning that many people miss. It's about getting those deeper meanings and references that native speakers use without thinking. This hidden layer can make all the difference in truly understanding what's being said. Cultural misunderstandings can lead to some pretty confusing situations. Imagine watching Friends with native English speakers. Everyone's cracking up, but you're not sure why. You got all the words, but the humor just didn't click. That's because many jokes rely on cultural references or wordplay that might not make sense if you're not familiar with American culture. Some expressions can really throw you off too. If someone says, "That's not my cup of tea," they're not talking about actual tea, they mean they don't like something. And body language plays a huge role in communication. A raised eyebrow or a slight nod can say a lot without any words at all. So, how can you improve your cultural understanding? Immerse yourself in the target culture. Watch TV shows, listen to podcasts, read books by native authors. When you come across something you don't get, look it up or ask questions. And try to interact with native speakers whenever you can. Join language exchange groups or find a language partner. Building cultural fluency takes time, but it's totally worth it. As you learn more, you'll find yourself understanding natives better, getting more jokes, and feeling more confident in your conversations. Now that we've uncovered these hidden challenges in listening comprehension, you might be wondering how to tackle them all. Well, stick around, because in the next section, we're going to explore a powerful technique that can help you with all of these issues at once. Ready to take your listening skills up a notch? Let's keep going. Active listening is the secret weapon of language learners who effortlessly understand natives. It's about engaging with words, processing them, and truly understanding them. Unlike passive listening, where you might hear words without engaging, active listening makes you a participant in the process. One powerful active listening exercise is shadowing. You listen to native audio and repeat what you hear simultaneously. This technique improves both your listening and speaking skills by focusing your attention on pronunciation and rhythm. Transcription is another useful technique. Write down everything you hear in a native conversation, then compare it to a transcript. This helps you catch those tricky connected speech patterns and identify words you might have missed or misheard. Want to try active listening? Here's a quick process. Find a short audio clip of native English speakers. Listen once, then rewind and pause after each sentence to repeat what you heard. Jot down new vocabulary or expressions and challenge yourself to use them in your own sentences. Many language learners report dramatic improvements in their comprehension after incorporating these techniques. One learner shared that after a week of daily shadowing practice, they could follow native speech much more easily, even picking up on idioms and slang they previously missed. You now have the tools to understand native speech better, but there's one final secret that can take your listening skills from good to great. Stick around to discover how to make these techniques a natural part of your language learning journey. Understanding native English speakers is a skill you can improve with practice. It's a process, and now you have the tools to make it happen. Start small. Try one active listening exercise each day. Stick with it, whatever you choose. Here's a challenge for you. Use these techniques for a week. Then come back and tell me how it went. Did you notice any changes in your comprehension? Could you follow native speakers more easily? I'm curious to hear about your experience, so make sure to join the Telegram group and share your experiences.